Admiral Han stood at the central viewing deck of his command ship, staring at the holographic display of a small blue planet. After serving the Concordium for over 2 centuries, he had overseen the conquest of 17 worlds. None had presented a challenge worth remembering. This new discovery appeared no different. "Analysis complete, Admiral," reported Officer Yoon, handing him a data tablet. "The natives call it Earth. They've achieved basic spaceflight, but haven't expanded beyond their own moon." Han scrolled through the report, a slight smile forming on his lips. "Primitive communication systems, fragmented planetary government, limited weapons capability." He handed the tablet back. "Perfect. The Council will be pleased with this addition to our territory. Should we proceed with standard protocol, sir?" "Yes. Send in the probe fleet. I want detailed scans of their defenses, technology, and resources before we reveal ourselves." Han turned back to the holographic image, already imagining how simple this conquest would be. "Mark my words, Officer Yoon. In 6 cycles, that planet will be another jewel in the Concordium's crown." On Earth, Dr. Park rubbed her tired eyes and stared at her computer screen. For 3 weeks, she had detected strange signal patterns that didn't match any known satellite or space debris. The observatory was quiet at 2 a.m., just how she preferred it. Less distractions, more stars. The signal appeared again, stronger this time. It moved too precisely to be natural and too quickly for human technology. She recorded the data and ran it through her analysis program again. The results remained the same. Something was out there, watching. Her phone rang, startling her. "Dr. Park, it's Kang from Defense Intelligence. We need to talk." "Colonel Kang, it's the middle of the night. I wouldn't call if it wasn't important. Those signals you reported to the Science Foundation. I need everything you have on them." Park sat up straighter. "How do you know about my research?" "Because we've lost contact with 3 military satellites in the past week. The last data transmission from each showed energy signatures matching what you've described." The next morning, Park entered the secure military facility with her laptop and research notes. After numerous security checks, she was led to a conference room where Colonel Kang waited with several stern-faced military officials. "Dr. Park, thank you for coming," Kang said, gesturing to an empty chair. Tall and composed, the colonel had the serious demeanor of someone who rarely dealt in hypotheticals. "Please, show them what you showed me." Park connected her laptop to the display screen and pulled up her data. "These signals first appeared 3 weeks ago. They're artificial and moving in patterns that suggest observation. Whatever's producing them can evade our tracking systems and disappear at will." An older general snorted. "You're suggesting aliens." "I'm suggesting unknown technology far beyond our capabilities," Park replied carefully, "and it appears to be scanning our planet systematically." Kang stepped forward. "That aligns with our findings. Whatever knocked out our satellites used technology we can't explain." He displayed images of the disabled satellites. They weren't destroyed. They were disabled with surgical precision. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "So what exactly are you two proposing?" asked the general. "Sir," Kang replied, "I believe Earth is under surveillance by an advanced non-human intelligence, and given the methodical nature of these scans, I believe it's preparation for something more." The general laughed. "That's quite a leap, Colonel. We need more evidence before we start a global panic over alien invasions." "With respect, sir," Park interjected, "waiting for more evidence might leave us with no time to prepare." On Pluto's dark surface, the Concordium scout ship deployed its equipment. Robotic probes dug into the dwarf planet's ice, setting up monitoring stations and communication relays. Inside, Commander Shin reviewed the incoming data from the probe fleet orbiting Earth. "Begin Phase 2, he ordered. "Full planetary scan. I want to know everything about these humans before Admiral Han arrives with the main fleet." His second-in-command looked up from her station. "Sir, we're detecting increased activity in their orbital defense systems. Some of their scientists may have noticed our presence." Commander Shin considered this information briefly. It doesn't matter. By the time they understand what's happening, the invasion fleet will already be here. The Concordium has conquered thousands of worlds more advanced than this one. He looked at the beautiful blue planet displayed on the main screen. Soon enough, Earth will just be another name in our empire's long history. The massive alien ship descended through the clouds above the United Nations headquarters in New York, casting an enormous shadow over the frightened city. News cameras from every nation captured the historic moment as the vessel, sleek and silver, with pulsing blue lights, hovered silently above the building. Ambassador Kim of the Concordium stepped onto Earth soil with 4 armed guards. His appearance shocked the gathered world leaders, nearly human but with grayish skin, eyes too large, and movements too fluid to be natural. People of Earth, Kim spoke in perfect English, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. The Concordium extends its protection to your world. We have watched your development and determined you are ready to join our galactic family. He presented a document to the UN Secretary-General. This protection agreement outlines the terms of our arrangement. Your nations will maintain local governance while accepting Concordium authority on matters of interstellar importance. What Ambassador Kim didn't say was that the protection agreement required Earth to surrender 70% of its resources, accept Concordium military bases on every continent, and relinquish all space exploration rights. It's not an alliance. It's a surrender document. Colonel Kang slammed his fist on the table during the Emergency Security Council meeting. They're not even trying to hide it. Several nations are ready to sign, replied the defense minister. They believe resistance would lead to destruction. Dr. Park pointed to her analysis on the screen. Their technology is advanced, but not magical. We've analyzed their ship's energy emissions. They use a quantum field stabilizer that's vulnerable to a specific type of electromagnetic disruption. You're suggesting we can fight them? Asked the president. I'm suggesting we might have a chance, Park replied. But we need time and resources to develop the technology. While Earth's leaders debated, Concordium ships appeared near Mars, establishing mining operations. A base on the moon began construction. Admiral Han watched from his command ship. Ambassador Kim reports several Earth nations are preparing to sign our agreement, reported Officer Yoon. Excellent. But the Americans and several others are hesitating, Han replied. Accelerate the deployment schedule. I want military assets in place when I arrive with the main fleet. Sir, the diplomatic approach was meant to take 6 months. Han's eyes narrowed. I'm not waiting. These humans are more divided than anticipated. We should exploit that weakness. Begin moving troops to the lunar base immediately. Dr. Park hadn't slept in 3 days. The international science team worked around the clock in a secret facility beneath the Swiss Alps. Scientists from 28 nations pooled their knowledge, analyzing the alien technology. I've confirmed it, announced Dr. Lee, rushing into the lab with data printouts. Their ships generate a quantum field that breaks down when exposed to this specific frequency. Park studied the results. Can we build a device powerful enough to affect their ships? Not just one device, replied Kang, looking over her shoulder. We'd need a network of them, a global system. Then that's what we'll build, Park said determinedly. The first skirmish happened near the lunar base. An American reconnaissance satellite approached too close to a Concordium installation. The aliens destroyed it without warning. When a joint Earth-space mission went to investigate, Concordium ships opened fire. 16 astronauts died. The footage of the attack, broadcast worldwide, changed everything. Nations that had been ready to sign the protection agreement withdrew their support. Public opinion shifted from fear to anger. In an emergency UN session, Earth's nations voted unanimously to reject the Concordium's terms and form a united defense coalition. Ambassador Kim strode into the UN chamber, his previous diplomatic smile replaced with cold fury. Your rejection of our generous offer is most unfortunate, he announced. Admiral Han will arrive with our fleet in 30 days. You have until then to reconsider your position. After he left, the Secretary General turned to Colonel Kang and Dr. Park. "How much time do you need?" "The prototype works," Park replied, "but scaling it to protect the planet, we need more time than we have. Project Thunderclap will require every participating nation to build and synchronize electromagnetic pulse generators," added Kang. "And we'll only get one chance. Then we'll have to delay them," said the Secretary General. "I'll authorize whatever resources you need. Earth stands together now." In his ship orbiting Jupiter, Admiral Han received Ambassador Kim's report. "So they choose resistance," Han said with a cold smile. "Good. I prefer conquest to diplomacy." "Sir, they're building something," Officer Yoon reported. "Our sensors detect unusual activity worldwide." "It doesn't matter," Han replied dismissively. "Prepare the fleet. In 30 days, Earth will learn what happens to worlds that defy the Concordium." Little did he know that as he spoke, Project Thunderclap engineers were working frantically around the globe, racing against time to build humanity's only hope of survival. The first attack came at dawn. Concordium ships appeared over military bases in 12 countries, firing precision energy weapons that turned defense systems to molten slag. Earth's hastily deployed orbital defenses managed to down 3 enemy vessels before being overwhelmed. The message was clear: surrender or face destruction. Dr. Park watched the burning remains of Seoul's military headquarters from the underground lab where she'd been working for weeks. The facility shook with each distant explosion. "They're being careful," observed Colonel Kang, studying tactical displays. "They're targeting military assets only, minimizing civilian casualties." "For now," Park replied grimly. "They want our resources and our planet intact. But if we keep resisting—" Their conversation was interrupted as the lab's secure communication system activated. The UN Secretary General appeared on screen, her face grim. "The Galactic Council has made its decision. Admiral Han has been granted permission for full invasion. The subjugation fleet has entered our solar system." Kang's expression darkened. "How many ships?" "Over 200. Far more than we faced initially." Park stepped forward. "Project Thunderclap is at 70% completion. We need more time." "Time is something we don't have," the Secretary General replied. "Our intelligence suggests they'll be in Earth orbit within 5 days." Across the planet, ordinary people joined the resistance. Farmers in Argentina sabotaged Concordium landing sites. Engineers in Egypt disrupted alien communication arrays. Students in Indonesia developed software to track enemy movements. In her lab, Dr. Park made a breakthrough while studying tissue samples from a fallen Concordium soldier. "Their cellular structure is completely uniform," she explained to her team. "Almost like they've been engineered for stability." She compared it to human cells under the microscope. "Look at the difference. Human DNA shows incredible variation and adaptive potential. We evolve rapidly compared to them." Later that night, she burst into the command center where Kang was coordinating defense strategies. "I know why they're in such a rush to conquer us," she said breathlessly. "The Concordium has engineered their species for genetic stability. They've eliminated disease, but also their ability to adapt quickly." She placed her research on the table. "We're the opposite. Human DNA mutates and adapts rapidly. Given enough time, we could potentially develop resistance to their weapons, their technology. They're not just conquering us for resources. They fear what we might become." Kang considered this information. That could explain their urgency. "But how does this help us now?" "It doesn't," Park admitted. "But it might give us leverage later, if we survive." Colonel Kang stood before 30 volunteers, pilots, engineers, and soldiers from a dozen nations. Their mission was simple yet nearly impossible: infiltrate a Concordium command ship to gather intelligence on the approaching subjugation fleet. "Our orbital defenses won't stop them," Kang explained. "But Project Thunderclap might, if we know exactly what we're targeting. We need the fleet's formation details, shield frequencies, and communication protocols." A young pilot raised her hand. "Sir, How do we get aboard their ship? Kang unveiled a captured Concordium shuttle. We've modified this to transmit their identification codes. We'll pose as a returning scout vessel. The mission launched under cover of a meteor shower to mask their approach. Kang led the team himself, knowing the survival chances were slim. As their stolen shuttle approached the massive Concordium command vessel, everyone held their breath. Shuttle ZK-17, requesting docking clearance, transmitted their communications specialist in perfect Concordium language. Tense moments passed before the response came. Clearance granted. Proceed to Bay 4. Once aboard, they split into teams. While engineers placed disguised data mining devices in the ship's computers, Kang and a small team made their way to the central data core. We have 15 minutes before the system detects the intrusion, whispered the tech expert as she connected to the alien terminal. Kang stood guard, pulse rifle ready. On his wrist display, he watched as critical fleet data transferred to their secure storage. Ship positions, defensive capabilities, and most importantly, the exact frequency vulnerabilities of the quantum field generators that powered the entire fleet. The alarm sounded with 3 minutes remaining. We've got what we need, Kang decided. Fall back to extraction point. The firefight was brutal. 8 team members fell covering the retreat. The shuttle launched with Concordium fighters in pursuit, taking heavy damage before a desperate jump to hyperspace got them clear. When Kang's shuttle limped back to Earth, only 7 of the 30 volunteers remained alive, but the data they brought was priceless. Dr. Park received the intelligence in her lab and immediately incorporated it into the Thunderclap system. This changes everything, she said, studying the fleet formations. Their ships are linked in a network. If we target these command vessels with the exact frequencies you've identified, we can disable the entire fleet at once. Kang finished. Park nodded, hope in her eyes for the first time in weeks. We might actually have a chance now. Outside, the sky darkened as the first ships of the subjugation fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. The sky above Earth turned black with ships. 200 Concordium vessels positioned themselves over major cities, their massive forms blocking the sun and casting planet-wide shadows. Admiral Han stood on his flagship's bridge, watching tactical displays as Earth's remaining defenses tried futilely to resist. Their orbital weapons have been neutralized, Admiral, reported Officer Yoon. Ground resistance continues in these sectors. Han frowned at the display showing dozens of red dots where human military forces still fought. Begin targeted strikes on military installations. Level their command centers. And civilian areas, sir. Han considered for a moment. Not yet. But prepare bombardment patterns for their major cities. If they haven't surrendered in 24 hours, we'll demonstrate what happens to worlds that defy the Concordium. Around the world, people watched in terror as alien weapons cut through Earth's defenses like paper. Concordium ground forces landed outside major cities, establishing forward bases with frightening efficiency. Deep beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Park and her team worked frantically to complete Project Thunderclap's final connections. The facility shook as Concordium forces bombed the mountain range, trying to locate the hidden base. Global synchronization at 98%. Called out an engineer. All stations report ready. Park looked at the main display showing hundreds of thunderclap emitters hidden worldwide. Each one was designed to produce the specific electromagnetic frequency that disrupted Concordium quantum fields. Colonel Kang entered the control room, his uniform torn and dirty from recent fighting. They'd broken through the outer defenses. We have maybe 2 hours before they reach this facility. We're almost ready, Park replied. But the system was designed to disable their ships, not destroy them. We'll only get a temporary advantage. That might be enough, said Kang, unfolding a tactical map. I've assembled a strike team. When Thunderclap activates and their ships lose power, we'll board Admiral Han's flagship here. He pointed to a position over Geneva. If we can capture Han, we might force a ceasefire. Park looked skeptical. That's a suicide mission. We're out of alternatives, Kang replied grimly. Admiral Han received the surrender offers from 17 nations with a smile of satisfaction. But his victory celebration was short-lived. "Sir, our sensors detect unusual energy readings from the planet's surface," reported a concerned officer. "They appear to be activating some kind of planetary defense system." "Impossible," Han dismissed. "Their technology is too primitive to." His words cut off as the ship's lights flickered. Warning alarms blared throughout the vessel. "Quantum field destabilizing," shouted Officer Yoon. "We're losing power across all systems." Han gripped his command chair as the massive flagship began to drift. On his display, he watched in disbelief as all 200 ships in his fleet reported the same critical failures. Project Thunderclap worked beyond all expectations. The synchronized pulse hit every Concordium vessel simultaneously, disrupting their quantum fields and shutting down their primary systems. The mighty invasion fleet hung helpless in the sky. Colonel Kang's strike team launched immediately, using modified Concordium shuttles to approach Han's flagship. They boarded through emergency airlocks, engaging the confused alien crew in close-quarters combat. Kang fought his way to the bridge, where he found Admiral Han attempting to restore power to critical systems. "Admiral Han," Kang announced, energy rifle aimed at the alien commander's chest. "Your invasion has failed." While Kang secured the flagship, Dr. Park made another critical discovery. In a captured Concordium communication center, she found technology capable of broadcasting messages across the entire empire instantaneously. Their communication network spans thousands of light years, she explained to the UN Security Council via emergency broadcast. "With it, we can send a message directly to their central government." "What good will messages do now?" asked a skeptical general. "They'll just send another fleet." "Not if we show them why they can't win," Park replied. She displayed her recent research findings. Human tissue samples exposed to Concordium weapons are already showing genetic adaptation. In just 3 generations, we would develop natural resistance. "Are you certain?" asked the Secretary General. "Absolutely. The Concordium engineered themselves for genetic stability. They can't adapt quickly. We're their evolutionary opposite. The longer they fight us, the stronger we become." On the captured flagship, Dr. Park and Colonel Kang recorded humanity's message to the Concordium Empire. With Admiral Han as their unwilling witness, they prepared what they called the final warning. Park spoke directly into the alien communication device. "To the Galactic Council of the Concordium. We are humanity of Earth. Your invasion has failed, and Admiral Han is our prisoner." She displayed her genetic research. "This data proves that human biology adapts to your weapons with each generation. The more you attack us, the more resistant we become." Kang stepped forward. "We offer you one chance for peace. Withdraw your forces and recognize Earth as a sovereign world, or face a war that you cannot win, not because of our weapons, but because of our nature." The message was broadcast across thousands of light years, reaching every corner of the Concordium Empire. As they waited for a response, temporary repairs allowed Concordium ships to regain minimal power. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. "Do you think they'll listen?" asked Kang. "They're logical beings," Park replied. "And what we've shown them defies their logic of conquest. For the first time in their history, they found a species that grows stronger from being attacked." Admiral Han, watching from his restraints, remained silent, but his expression revealed what he would not say. Fear. The Concordium had never faced a crisis like this before. Across 2,000 star systems, government officials, military commanders, and ordinary citizens watched Earth's final warning with growing alarm. The data accompanying the message spread rapidly, analyzed and verified by the Empire's top scientists. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, 12 ancient rulers of the Concordium gathered in emergency session. The central holographic display showed human DNA sequences adapting to Concordium weapons in real-time simulation. "Impossible," muttered Counselor Shin, the oldest member. "No species can adapt this quickly." The data is verified, replied the chief scientist. Humans possess genetic variability beyond anything in our records. Their adaptation rate exceeds our weapons development cycle by a factor of 3. Counselor Min, head of military affairs, pounded her fist on the table. This changes nothing. We simply increase our attack force, overwhelm them before adaptation can occur. You missed the point, said the chief scientist quietly. The more force we apply, the stronger they become. Look at their history. The display shifted to show human technological advancement. They progressed from primitive flight to space travel in less than a century. Their rate of innovation outpaces ours by orders of magnitude. While we've remained technologically stable for millennia, they transform completely in generations. Silence fell over the chamber as the implications became clear. On Earth, 3 days passed with no response from the Concordium. The captured fleet remained in orbit, powered down and under guard. Admiral Hand sat in a holding cell, refusing to speak to his captors. Colonel Kang entered the cell, carrying a data tablet. Your council has been quiet, Admiral. Should we be preparing for another attack? Hand stared at the wall. The council does not rush decisions. They are deliberating. While they deliberate, our scientists continue studying your technology, Kang replied. Every day we learn more. Dr. Park's team has already reverse-engineered components of your propulsion system. Hand's head snapped toward Kang. That's impossible. You couldn't possibly understand. That's what makes us dangerous to you, Kang interrupted. What takes your people centuries to develop, we adapt to in years. You've spent millennia perfecting stability. We thrive on change. Hand studied Kang with new understanding. Perhaps I underestimated your species. Dr. Park was working in her lab when the alert came. Multiple hyperspace ruptures detected. More Concordium ships incoming. She rushed to the command center, joining world leaders watching anxiously as 5 massive vessels appeared in orbit. Are they warships? Asked the Secretary General. No, replied the defense minister, studying sensor data. Different configuration. These appear to be diplomatic vessels. A transmission came through on all channels worldwide. A stately Concordium female appeared on screen, wearing ornate ceremonial robes unlike the military uniforms they'd seen before. People of Earth, I am Counselor Ba of the Galactic Council. I come authorized to negotiate peace between our civilizations. 2 weeks later, Dr. Park and Colonel Kang stood in the United Nations General Assembly as the Earth Concordium Treaty was signed. Counselor Ba and the Secretary General pressed their hands to the document simultaneously. The Concordium recognizes Earth and its solar system as a sovereign territory, announced Ba. In exchange, Earth agrees to peaceful relations and limited technological exchange. After the ceremony, Ba approached Park privately. Your final warning was most effective, Doctor. You've accomplished something unprecedented, which is, you've made the Concordium afraid. Ba's large eyes studied Park carefully. In 10,000 years, no species has done that. Fear wasn't our goal, Park replied. Survival was. And now you have more than survival, said Ba. You have opportunity. The Council has authorized me to offer space corridor access to your ships. Your expansion to nearby stars can begin immediately. 6 months later, Colonel Kang, now General Kang, stood on the observation deck of Earth's first interstellar vessel, watching as Admiral Han prepared to board a Concordium transport. Returning to face the Council won't be pleasant for you, Kang observed. Han straightened his uniform. I failed my mission. There are consequences. You didn't fail, Kang replied. You discovered something your empire needed to know. Han considered this. Perhaps. Your kind thinks differently. He turned to Kang. The treaty prevents Concordium expansion in this sector for 100 years. Use that time wisely. Why tell me this? Because in a century, I suspect humans will be challenging Concordium dominance in many sectors, and some of my people will call for preemptive action. And what will you advise? Asked Kang. Han smiled slightly. That attacking humans only makes them stronger. The wise path is alliance, not conquest. As Han's ship departed, Kang watched Earth's first colony vessels being prepared in the orbital shipyard. In just 6 months, humanity had incorporated Concordium technology into ships of their own design. 3 habitable worlds in nearby systems awaited Earth's first settlements. The final warning had done more than save Earth. It had opened the stars. As Kang looked at the distant pinpoints of light that would soon become humanity's new homes, he wondered what the Concordium would think when they discovered just how quickly humans could adapt to life among the stars.